A good Erev Yom Tov to everyone as we enter into the last days of Pesach. Shvi Shel Pesach. We know Shvi Shel Pesach is the Kriyas Yom Tov. That's when the Jews were more than just taken out of Mitzrayim, but they were brought through the Yom Tov and they were able to pass through, and the Mitzrayim drowned afterwards. And we've mentioned in the past that when the Jews were in Mitzrayim, they didn't realize that what was happening to them was for the best. They didn't realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was with them the entire way. We quoted the Gur Aryeh, who says that when they came out of Mitzrayim so quickly, then they saw the Yad Hashem. Same with the Kriyas Yam Suf, this amazing miracle where the Yidden were able to pass through, and right afterwards, the Mitzrayim drowned. That's when the Yidden realized that the entire time HaKadosh Baruch Hu was with them. An idea that's very relevant for today, that things look a certain way, we perceive things in a certain way, when in reality, things are much different. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a totally different picture of what is going on than we have. The mashal I thought of recently is, imagine you have a person who thinks it's pashut that 1 + 1 = 3. And you try to tell him that Rebbe Yida in Chuldik's, but 1 + 1 is 2, he thinks you're crazy. That's really us. We think that in our small window, we see exactly what's going on. We understand everything. We're very confident in our opinions. We have to realize that many of the things that we think is 1 + 1 = 3, when in reality, 1 + 1 = 2. There's a very beautiful, unbelievable story that's said about the Marami Prague that brings out this point that we think certain things look a certain way and we think it's that way. In reality, it's something else. In the Marami Prague's times, there was once a child who was a chayrish, a deaf mute. He couldn't speak and he couldn't hear. And not only that, his father was nifter. Nebuch, you have this almana, a widow, left to take care of a deaf mute child. The kid is 9 years old. Another woman comes to the Marami Prague with a shaila. She has a chicken. She thinks it might be a treif. It was Erev Yom Tov. He looks at the chicken and he sees the chicken is kosher. But instead of telling her the chicken is kosher, he tells her, do me a favor. I want you to go to that almana, go to that widow, show the chicken to that 9-year-old son, show the chicken to the deaf mute, to the chayresh, and see what he has to say. This made no sense to the woman asking the question, but the Rav said it. She knew he was a big tzaddik. She went and she did it. She comes to the child. The child picks up the chicken, looks at the chicken, inspects the chicken, and says kosher. In the next moment, the child dies. The story spreads like wildfire throughout Prague. And it comes back to the Marami Prague. They say, Rebbe, please explain to us what happened over here. I'll tell you what happened, says the Marami Prague. There was a tremendous Talmud Chacham that was nifter recently. A massive Talmud Chacham, a Baki and Shas and Poiskim, a big Rav. Came up to Shemayim. And they told him, B'chavod, please come into Olam Haba. Your life is unbelievable. You withstood challenges. You're a tzaddik. Come to Olam Haba. He's about to enter Olam Haba. And one malach comes and says, not so fast. I don't think you can go to Olam Haba. Why not? He has an entire track record. His life was gavaldik. I'm sorry. There was once a Maisa, many years ago, where a widow came to him on Erev Yom Tov with her chicken. And she had a shayla if it was treif. And she brought it to this Talmud Chacham. And with the rush on Erev Yom Tov, he didn't have the Yishuv Hadas. He didn't have the calmness to look at the chicken fully and completely. And he gave it a cursory view. And he saw it was treif, and he passed in treif. When in reality, her chicken was kosher. And because he didn't have the time to look into it, he didn't notice that it was kosher, and he passed in treif. And it caused this almana, this widow, a tremendous pain, tremendous financial tsar, psychological tsar. For that reason, he can't go into Olam Haba. The Bezdin Shel Maila accepted this malach's taina. He can't go to Olam Haba. There's only one eitzah. He has to come back into the world and fix what he did wrong, and fix the severa. This Talmud Chacham begged the Bezdin Shel Maila, I can't come back to this world. I'm afraid I come back to this world, I'll succumb to all the dangers, ruchniistic dangers, all the temptations, the Yetzer Hara. It was so great, I was barely able to hold on. The first time around, I'm so scared of the next time around. Said the Talmud Chacham, I have an idea. Send me back. I'll agree to go back if you send me back as a deaf mute. A deaf mute is part of the mitzvahs, as we learn in Gemara Chagig and Daf Beis. A deaf mute has much less temptations, much less things he could do, at least in those times. He came back as a deaf mute, and the Marami Prague knew that sending to this child that chicken would be a tikkun. The child, or this Talmud Chacham Paskin kosher, for the almana on Erev Yom Tov, and he was able to go back up to Shemayim into Olam Haba. Everybody viewed this child as a nebuch. Everybody viewed this almana as a nebuch. had they realized the reality that this was the neshama of that Heilige Talmid Chacham, and he asked, l'chatchila, he wants to come back as a deaf mute, they would have looked at the situation in a totally different manner. 1 + 1 does not equal 3. 1 + 1 equals 2. And this is our avodah on Shvi Shel Pesach, and Achron Shel Pesach, to realize, as the pasuk says, Vayar Yisrael, we say this every day in Shacharis, and it's right before the Az Yoshir. Vayar Yisrael as the Yod HaGedoyla, Asher Osa Hashem b'Mitzrayim. The Yidden saw the Yad HaGedoyla. Usually we say the Yad HaChazaka, the strong arm, the outstretched arm. What's the Yad HaGedoyla? What's the big arm? The Yad HaGedoyla. Zokt, the Chafetz Chaim. The Yad HaGedoyla refers to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's long arm. We don't always see the divine retribution right away. We don't always see the schar, or the oynish, the reward, or the punishment right away. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Yad is a Yad Gedoyla. It's a long arm that can stretch days, months, years, generations. We have to have the patience, as we said by the Haggadah. We begin with Gnus, we end with Shvach. We start our story with the bad times of the Yidden. We end with the good times. One of the approaches in that is to teach us patience. We don't always see the good right away. It's bad, and it can be bad for a while, but we know that bad is for an ultimate good. And that's the Yisoid behind the Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's what the pasuk is telling us over here. We have to all see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Yad as being a Yad Gedoyla, a long arm. We might not see why this is for our best right now, but we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Yad HaGedoyla, his big arm, is guiding us, and we should be zeicha to very soon see how all this really was for our benefit. We should be zeicha to have a good Yom Tov, a wonderful Yom Tov, a quality time with our family, with whoever we're around, have a geshmaka time with them, make the best of our matzav, and again, be zeicha be'ezer Hashem to be back again soon in the very near future. Good Yom.